Hi, Rhema. It's week 16, day 3 of our Bible narrative reading plan. Today we are in 1 Samuel chapters 5 and 6. We saw yesterday that the Philistines have captured the Ark of the Covenant. The children of Israel have tried to use it as a good luck charm, and God will not allow that. And so it's taken into the hands of the Philistines, and people are beginning to recognize that God, the glory of God, is departing from Israel because of their sinfulness. And they don't recognize that God is at work, and he's actually going to continue to defeat the Philistines over these next several chapters. And so chapter 5 begins, the Philistines have the Ark of God, and they don't know what to do with it. They put it before their god named Dagon. And Dagon, their god, keeps falling down, bowing before the Ark of the Covenant as it is. And so each day they go in and find Dagon has fallen, and they try to set him up. They try to prop him back up. But of course he keeps falling until eventually he starts falling apart. And the priest of Dagon, they understand something's happening, and they don't want to go in there anymore after that. Verse 6 says, "The hand of the Lord was heavy against the people of Ashdod, and he terrified and afflicted them with tumors, both Ashdod and its territory." And you go on in the story, you recognize that God is sending these types of plagues upon them to the point that they are ready just to get rid of it, to get rid of the ark. They recognize that God, the God of Israel, is more powerful than their God. And so in chapter 6, at the beginning, you see that they're trying to figure out how to appease this God, but they're doing it in the same way that they appease their own gods. They know nothing about the one true God of Israel, and so they are attempting to use their own devices, their own understanding of how to appease a God. And so through this interesting process with putting the Ark of the Covenant on a cart and letting untrained cows pull it away, the Ark of the Covenant is handed back to Israel. But notice what Israel does with it. They put it on this stone that they have found and built, and it says in chapter 7, verse 2, where our passage ends, that the Ark of the Covenant dwells at Kiriath Jearim for 20 years. This is not what God would have had them to do. They should have taken the Ark of the Covenant back to where it belonged, but instead they leave it there. And that's going to continue throughout the reign of Saul, and it's actually going to be there until later on in David's reign as king. And so even as God is working, it's not because of anything good that the people are doing. They're continuing to mess up. They're continuing to not rely on the one true living God of Israel. Here's a summary of today's reading. For more information, go to tunemyheart.org.